Welcome to Caching in the Northwest. You know, this is the podcast from the birthplace of geocaching right here in the great Pacific Northwest. Now, it's Thursday at 9 p.m. Pacific. They call me Chris of the Northwest. And we're going to talk about geocaches and geocachers from here all around the world. So while you're still eating leftovers from Taco Tuesday, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
Tacos.
Mm.
I like tacos any day of the week. Tonight, this day of the week, though, we're talking about Trackables or Trackables, if you want to be fancy.
Ooh.
As always, live audience, what do you want to talk about with Trackables? Throw it in the chat. Bring up some ideas. The discussion's probably already going. I'm not looking, but I bet it is. And I'm sure it's lively. But before we can get to Trackables and all the news that there is to share tonight, we have to first bring in our tracking tamarind. Some say he dresses every day like it's laundry day. And others say his drone bakery service was named Pie in the Sky. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
Yes, the most difficult part of the drone bakery service was getting the ovens up there. Otherwise, it was working pretty well. So I decided solar oven was the angle to
There you
work
go.
on.
Oh.
Yeah,
So nothing ever really cooked.
The closer you get to the sun, the hotter it is.
exactly.
See?
All right. Well, hey, you know what? Chicken butt. It is time for a quick reminder that
Hey, this is a family-friendly podcast.
It was a family-friendly podcast. We appreciate the support of our patrons who help keep this podcast coming each and every week, regardless of the rating. Thanks to Land Sharks, one of our corporate Denali level sponsors. Remember, they've got those new store hours, and remember to check landsharkz.ca as well as travel at landsharks.ca to see what kind of new deals are going on there. And hey, while you're checking things out and thinking about traveling, why not plan a trip up to Gold Country? That's right. Our other corporate Denali level sponsor is Gold Country Geotourism. Visit exploregoldcountry.com. Learn more about the geotours, the region. Do not forget to download the app, or I am going to come and take your phone away from you.
I forgot the app.
Forfeit your phone.
No, you have to come get it. You said you're going to come and take it. I just thought it was a good way to get you to come visit.
There you go. Folks, if you want to know more about supporting this here show, remember to click that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website.
Whew. Why am I holding my breath along with you?
Because you're a good team
Hey,
player.
you know what? There we go. Thank you.
Hi.
Gold Country, we love you, but you're blinking on my face. Hey, that was family friendly. Hey, what else is family friendly usually is the geocaching log of the week, or as we like to say, the glow. So whether you read it or whether you wrote it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. You can send an email or a recording to feedback@cachingnw.com. You can also call in to 253-693-TFTC. That's 8382. You know, because letters aren't always by the numbers on the phone pad anymore, just in case you needed to know that. And show us just how you glow. In fact, tonight, we have a call from that very number. Let me know. I'm going to play it. Make sure you all can hear.
Good day, gentlemen. This is Limax yet again. I'm glad we've got the hotline working because I seem to be putting it on fire here. Anyway, talking about this month with the iconic cacher on the Wheel of Challenges, gas station Susan is just talking about that. I have a really funny story related to that. Recently made a trip up to Missoula, Montana, and we got there by heading west from Butte, Montana, along Interstate 90. Well, the last rest area before we got into Missoula, I noticed that there was an event cache there. And unfortunately, it had happened, I think, like 1 day or 2 days before we were driving through there. So there was absolutely no chance on doing it. So it's like, okay, oh well. So we went and did our business in Missoula. But when we were returning back a couple days later, I stopped off at that rest area because I noticed there was a traditional there. And then Pimple Bear noticed there were a letterbox, a mystery, a multi-cache, and I got to looking at my bookmarks, and in Cachely, it was showing them all his FTF chances. I'm thinking, I know what this was for. Someone had put together a local event along with a bunch of different caches for people in the Missoula area to be able to do the Wheel of Challenges. And the event actually was related to the Wheel of Challenges because a lot of those Pokemon types happen to be rare in that part of Montana. Anyway, just thought you'd find that interesting. Bye.
There you go. I found that very interesting.
It is. So
He
if
thought
someone
you
like Land Monkey, who's cashed out his entire area and has no caches left, needs to get all his Wheel of Challenges caches, he can just pop on over to Missoula.
Missoula. I just
Hit
like
the,
the sound
hit
of
the first rest stop.
Yeah.
And you're good to go.
I had to laugh when he mentioned that they were passing the rest stop and he had stopped in Missoula to do his business. I thought,
That's what you do at a rest
I'm not
stop.
sure that's what you meant, but it sure sounded funny to me. So
I've never considered putting on an event at a rest stop.
yeah.
Why not?
Why not? There you go. It actually could be very convenient depending on how your locale is set up.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Unless you're
Congrats.
coming from the opposite direction. Sometimes that's a problem. But, well, you know.
Yes. Well, you just go another 30 miles and turn around and come back.
Yeah.
Go to the next rest stop. Come back. Anyways, thank you, Limax. That was a lot of fun. That was cool. And I can't remember. Did we hear if he said there are FTF opportunities? Did he get the FTFs on them?
We don't know.
Oh, suspense. Maybe next week we'll have another call.
There you
never
go.
know.
This continuing saga.
He may call back.
He may. All right. Well, that was entertaining.
Yeah.
Wasn't it, though?
You know what else is entertaining is Bigfoot. It's
I
very
guess that depends on your perspective and your personal relationship with Bigfoot.
well, and it's very Northwest, isn't it?
It is
Yes.
very Northwest.
At least that's what one would think. But there's a story from Belmont County, Ohio, which is northwest of somewhere, of course.
It's mid-Northwest.
Yeah. Asks the question, is Bigfoot in the Ohio Valley? We don't know. Go find out and come back. Give us a call. 253-693-TFTC and let us know.
We'll wait. You can pause the podcast. It will wait here for hours.
Right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, maybe not. Welcome back. If you've just paused and come back 3 days later, you can find out if Bigfoot is in the Ohio Valley by going there and visiting the upcoming Bigfoot Geo Tour. Belmont County Tourism Department is hosting one there. The host there, Jim Thompson, says Bigfoot definitely exists. He says, I experienced an encounter back in 2014, and it probably more or less solidified it for me that he was real. So did you catch that? It probably more or less solidified it that he was real. So I mean, you just can't get any more descriptive than that.
Oh, you could.
Yeah.
But no.
Probably.
Now, they don't promise that you
More or
will
less.
find Bigfoot in the woods. And if you do, I don't know if I want to know about it. But starting September 30th, there will be 20 Bigfoot-themed caches across Belmont County, Ohio for geocachers to find and track. He says people come from all over the U.S. for these launch events. But by adding the Bigfoot theme to it, he says we've also added a different group of people. Now, FTF hunters, listen up, because you can get all these great rewards, but only the first 40 people to bring their complete passport of 20 cache codes will receive a trackable gold coin. Everyone else gets a black coin, which is still very cool.
Mhm.
But if you want that gold one, you got to be one of the first 40 people. So whether you want to find Bigfoot or you just enjoy being in the woods like a lot of us do,
Or you
head
like gold
to
coins.
or you like gold coins, be early. Make sure you head to Bark Camp State Park for the pre-launch Bigfoot Bash. There's going to be a presentation there. It's going to be great. He says it's a fantastic idea marrying up the two, geocaching and Bigfoot. Because getting people out in the woods to find things, it's great. He adds, he doesn't think people are going to find Bigfoot, but they're going to find Bigfoot stuff with geocaching items in them. So you'll get rewards, you'll get stuff, you'll get, smileys on your geocaching app, and you'll just create great memories.
Is that
of
anything like
Probably.
Bigfoot stuffing, like what you put in Bigfoot for Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Mhm. And probably more or less.
Yeah.
Probably more or less.
Stuff
I-
your Bigfoot to, the plumpness of your liking.
When the little Bigfoot timer pops up, you know he's done.
Oh,
Is it like a little foot? And when it gets big, it's,
I don't know how that works.
hmm.
But that reminds me of the Bigfoot geo tour we have down south.
Very fun.
Yes. 10, 15 caches.
I want to say 10, but
Yeah. Something like that. Anyway, it's
Research
a geo tour. It's the one of the longest geo tours I know that is still going. So
it's been around for ages.
Yeah.
totally.
it probably more or less solidifies fun.
I agree.
Yeah.
More or less.
More or less.
Probably.
Well, there's another geo tour I want to talk about.
What?
This one comes from the Cherokee Nation that utilizes geocaching to share history and culture. This comes from Tahlequah. I know that because we have a Tahlequah here in Washington State as well, so it helped me with the pronunciation. But this is Tahlequah, Oklahoma. Cherokee Nation is sharing its rich history and culture through the tribe's first official geocaching event, Cherokee Stories and Adventure, on Saturday, September 16th. Now that's in the past when we're recording this, but there's still more to do. The public's invited to the Cherokee Nation's Peace Pavilion to celebrate the launch of the tribe's first caches in the capital city of Tahlequah while enjoying family-friendly activities. We couldn't be more excited to offer another unique way to share our story and for the public to enjoy Cherokee Nation. We hope to expand these cultural caches throughout the reservation in the coming months to offer an immersive and entertaining way to experience all that Cherokee Nation has to offer. So there you go. If you happen to be going through Oklahoma, maybe on your way to Ohio for the Bigfoot, stop and do some Cherokee cultural caches.
Mm-hmm.
Depending where you're coming from, that sounds like definitely a circuitous route.
It's on the
I
way
don't
for
know. Yeah.
someone.
It is.
Coming from you, Land Monkey. I think that's a stretch. You take some
Probably-
of the strangest routes.
Probably more or less definitely right.
Yes,
Mhm.
indeed. Well, you know what else is more or less definitely coming up?
Bigfoot.
Well, that's
Fall.
possible.
This is the last official podcast of
That's
that we're
summer.
recording in summer.
That's right. And it's almost Pumpkin Spice Geocache Day. I mean,
Woohoo!
International Earth Cache Day. Yes. Or as I like to call it, International Earth Cache Weekend, because this particular day has 48 hours. All right. Well, folks, it's time to start getting ready for that souvenir, International Earth Cache Day 2023. I think we all know that Earth caches are filled with pools of geological knowledge.
Ooh, pools of knowledge.
Pools of knowledge. I don't often hear collections of knowledge referred to as pools, but there you go. You know, there's some pools in Turkey that are used as a reference to this. They're bright blue eye-catching terrace pools created by the carbonate material left by thermal flow of spring water. Well, you know what? You can learn other geoscience fun facts like that when you find any Earth cache on Saturday, October 7th, or Sunday, October 8th, to earn that International Earth Cache Day souvenir. Also, Non-premium Earth caches will be available to all geocachers throughout the weekend, making it the perfect time to introduce a friend to Pumpkin Spice Earth Cache Geocache Day.
And who doesn't love a pumpkin spice geocache?
Can't stand it, but
No. I didn't know there were premium Earth caches. Maybe I've been a premium member so long that it never crossed my, border of knowing. But
I think like any caches, you can have premium and non-premium for any particular
Mhm.
geocache. It all depends on the cache owner, whether they created it or not, or whether they tag
Yeah.
it as premium or not.
Their statement, their description did kind of make me chuckle. They said non-premium Earth caches will be available to all geocachers throughout the weekend. Aren't they always? They're
Yeah,
non-premium.
I'm not sure what that's all about. So
Unless it
but
was a typo and premium ones are. I don't
I-
know. But
I
probably
am,
not.
I am working on a guest for our Thursday immediately before International Earth Cache Day to see if we can
Okay.
ask some of these challenging questions.
Wits End, you bring up a good point, because I read that as, Earth caches will be available to non-premium members, but
Yeah.
non-premium Earth caches. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, maybe it's intended to mean the other, and somebody just
Mhm.
didn't catch the typo there. Hard to say. Good
It's the
question.
kind of gas I use as well. Non-premium Earth cache gas.
Ah,
When I go to the gas station.
made from dinosaurs that haven't bought the year
The very
subscription to
common
Geocaching.
dinosaurs, not the special ones that
Yeah.
everybody likes.
did you get the pumpkin spice gasoline?
Yeah.
Oh, now's the time of the year to get it. One more news story before we get on to Trackables.
Lots of
And
news.
I'll let people try to figure out what this shape is. I'm holding this up here. It's got a bit of a swallowtail.
It'll be
Hmm.
even more difficult for those listening to the podcast.
Exactly.
Can you play the swallowtail jig to go with it? I know
You-
Keats can.
Oh. One can. I have no idea what that is. Didn't know it existed before this moment.
Well,
Okay.
Watch the chat. Keats will explain.
Okay. Adventure is all around us, and there's a new map feature. Introducing the Play Nearby Locations map feature. This is for premium members using the Adventure Lab app, can now view nearby locations from different adventures right on the map. So what this is telling me is that all the locations for an Adventure Lab will show up when you're nearby them, whether you've started the adventure or not.
Hmm.
So it's the perfect tool for explorers who want to make the most out of their time outdoors, finding locations and completing nearby adventures, all in one outing. To view nearby locations, visit your profile on the Adventure Lab app and tap the Premium Features option. Toggle the Play Nearby Locations to up-level. That's a single word there, up-level your exploration. Make sure you're using the latest version of the app to make sure this feature is available to you. So there you have it.
I like it. That's handy.
Yeah, it was taking me a few moments to wrap my head. So I haven't tried this yet. I just saw this news story tonight. If I'm reading this correctly, I'm gonna give my interpretation. You can let me know if I've got this right or not. If I'm reading this correctly, what we're saying is that in the Adventure Lab app, so the HQ app, so not any of the partner apps, if you enable this feature, if you've got a particular Adventure Lab loaded and you're working your way through an Adventure Lab, but a stage or a what the heck do they call it? A location
Mm-hmm.
from a different Adventure Lab happens to be within the area you're at, it will also show on the map for you to play, even though you're not actively playing that Adventure Lab. Is that what I am hearing? Or am I misinterpreting this?
I think it's just, the way I read it, it shows you all nearby locations.
So not just the one that you were playing, if there's another, because I think this has been a problem for quite a while because there's so many out there that they overlap.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like you can play one and then you turn around and you come, I see. BC Rockcaller said I'm right.
Don't tell him that. It'll go to his head.
I'm not seeing it I mean, I see the option on my app, but when I was playing with the app to verify this option. When you tap an adventure lab, it will show you the stops if it's non-sequential. It will show you all the locations in orange. So just this weekend, we were going out to I did a CETO with a couple of friends, and we went out to lunch afterwards. And that restaurant we went to happened to be an adventure stop or a stop on one of the adventure labs. But the adventure lab was several miles away. You had to find it, click on it, then you could go register that stop. Or I cheated and I used Cachly, which will show you all the locations of an adventure lab. Again, if they're not sequential.
Right. Okay. So it's lots of great feedback in the chat here. And so, yes, we have a correct understanding. Thank you for those who have already tried this. CRS98 and number of the other folks there. CRS98 said, oh, I thought you wanted me to read that.
Oh, yes, please.
CRS98 said, I tried the update and could see how it worked. You can see all locations from any adventure while playing an adventure. And I saw that confirmed also by, well, we already said BC Rock Crawler. Who else? GSM times 2. Keats agrees the overlapping gets me. Yeah, I'm with you, Keats. Drives me nuts. But I get it, right? You give out so many credits by the very nature of how this is now. They're going to, it's like multis, right? If you have an area where there's a high density multis, you're probably going to back and forth. So the ability to see them all is handy. I don't know if that's going to maybe mess up ones that are intended to be sort of have more of a theme or take you through a bit of a story. I guess you'd have to make those sequential now to not have those kind of end up being played out of the intended sequence.
Yeah, well, as I'm looking at the app, and as I look at it, I tap on. Well, I can show you. Maybe.
Oh,
Maybe I'll
please.
show you not. So I've tapped on one, and the holes in the map of the pins for the adventure lab, and it shows the pins there on the map without having to go into the actual app. But if I tap on a different adventure lab, then it shows me the stages for that one. So only the one that I tap on. Doesn't mean that I've actually opened it and started it, but as I tap
know that
on,
there's waypoints there.
Yeah, it shows where the waypoints are, which is helpful. Shows whether they're.
But I think
like
you could do
across
that
the county
before.
or-
In fact, let me go into my premium features and turn off play nearby locations.
Okay, yeah, do that.
And now I go tap.
We'll just derail the whole thing.
Yes, exactly. And I still see
Do you still see that?
Yes.
Okay.
So what I was hoping this feature is that you pop up the map and you see a location around you, wherever you are. That, oh, look, I haven't started this adventure that's 4.5 miles away, but there's a stop or a location right next to me right now. I can go claim that now instead of going to the start and figuring out where everything is.
You sure it doesn't work that way? I thought that's what this is.
I thought that's what this is too.
So why are you saying it's not?
Well, because I'm zooming in and I'm not seeing.
Yeah, it works with that. So I don't know.
Maybe it only works with near me, and I've done the ones near me.
Maybe.
So there aren't any available.
Well, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just where your current location is.
Yeah.
So
I have to agree with Wet Coaster that said, what are the purple ALs? I just saw one and I'm like, what is this purple thing?
Don't know.
That's the way it works, but you have to be playing an adventure.
So you're not actively in the midst of playing an adventure. That's why you're not seeing it. Very good. Thank you, CRS98.
Okay. So I don't know what I'm doing then. Never mind.
The purple are featured ALs.
So I would imagine that's when people pay for them.
I don't know, but now I see a bunch of purple ones.
Oh, I love them. They love me.
See, you can see how the purple ones just stand out because the green ones simply disappear with the green screen.
Looks like somebody was taking a shotgun at your phone there, Chris.
It's time for a new phone. Mine's full of holes.
Hmm.
I must be tapping too hard.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. Oh gosh. All right.
Ryling says purple ALs are featured, highlighted by HQ, probably because they paid to be featured.
HQ pays to be featured.
There, speed holes.
Ah,
I don't
All
think I want to know what that is. Hey, folks, you know what?
What?
Yeah, we just got through the news section, and we're
Did we?
25 minutes in.
Are you sure?
So, pardon me for getting this a little off track, but hey, if you want to join in to tonight's show, and I mentioned track, the hashtag for tonight's show is trackable.
Bah, that was
Trackable.
Trackable.
Use that to add to tonight's show, and of course, you can use the hashtag FITAS to bring up something in the after show.
All right.
Longest intro ever, and JCar says scrub the main topic till next week. We'll just talk about Adventure Labs and be good with it.
Let's just talk about the phones with holes in the screen and
Yeah.
be confused about how they work.
Well, for those who
Well,
are new to the podcast, this is basically how it goes. Sometimes there's a guest looking confused while this happens.
That's true.
Otherwise, this is a pretty normal podcast for Caching in the Northwest. Hey, we are going to talk about Trackables. We've still got half the podcast left to talk
Yeah,
about Trackables.
exactly.
Physical game pieces. It's if you're not familiar with Trackables, it's a bit of a game within the game. So they're physical pieces, as we said, that each have a unique tracking number that is provided by Geocaching HQ. So you can't just come up with your own tracking. Well, you can. Absolutely. I encourage you to come up with your own tracking number. You may experience difficulty getting other people to track it, but that's going to feel like your problem. But yes, unique tracking numbers on each trackable object. It can move. The intent is it moves from geocache to geocache or geocacher to geocacher and allows you to track its travels online. Different types of things can be trackables. Geocoins, or probably some of the more prized trackables. Tags, you can put trackable numbers on t-shirts. I've seen geocaches with trackable numbers on them or embedded in them somehow. All kinds of different things you can make trackable. The most common asked question that new cachers have is, "Kansai has it?"
I can has trackable
that way.
Yeah, I can has trackable.
Yeah.
Apparently, BC Rockcrawler is trackable, and I don't think you can has him.
No.
Is that due to tattooing ink? Because I know that a couple of geocachers with tattooed trackable codes on their persons.
Yes. BC Rockcrawler has a very cool trackable tattoo.
Wow, that's what I thought.
You'll have to meet him and get that code.
All
Very
right. So,
good. So can you has the trackable once you find it? Say I find a cool trackable that has a flag with a swallow tail like this, and people go, I have no idea where that's from.
Outer space.
Oh, well, bye now.
it's from Tacoma.
Well, that's where the coin is at the moment. Yes.
Yeah.
So
this is the flag for the state of Ohio, by the way.
So guys,
I thought that was appropriate for Bigfoot.
That is very cool. So what's the answer? Can you? Gee, sometimes I have this orange thing on my ankle that makes me trackable.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but funny that those codes don't work at geocaching.com.
No.
Different kind of trackable. Oh gosh, that's funny.
So,
hey, but yeah, so for those who are new to the game, Chris, if you find one, should you keep it?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I know that's not the answer you're looking for.
Nope.
99% of the time, no, you can't keep it. Now, if somebody gives you a coin or they put a bunch in a cache and say, come and get them and distribute them, that, may be a unique situation. Most of the time when you find a trackable in a geocache, it wants to be moved on. I'm finding more and more they have small, like business card size instructions with
Mhm.
them to tell you, hey, this trackable wants to go on freeways, or this wants to visit every burger joint in the state of Louisiana, or something. Some whatever its mission is. And there are some that don't have missions. They just want to get out there and be found and be explored.
What about Mission 9, Tunnel of Light?
Ooh, that's a different.
That's a different mission.
Now, once you find one, how do you go ahead and log it? Well, you can use the tracking code that's found somewhere on that coin or on that trackable. There's a unique number.
Yeah.
Usually, this one's on the edge, so
Yeah,
it's really hard to see.
The back of mine is right there
Oh, there you go.
under that piece of tape.
Wonder why you put that piece of tape up there.
I don't know.
Thank you for doing that. That is a unique code. Typically starts with TB, but that's not necessarily true. You can get custom codes. But they should always have the words trackable at geocaching.com. And that's going to tell you that that's a tracking code. You go there, you go to under play. If you're on the website, play trackables, enter that code, and then you can discover it, pick it up, do what you want to do, and move it along. And when we say move it along, what do we actually mean there, Wits End?
Well, you move it along. Nothing to see here. Move along. Usually you pick up that trackable if it's once, especially if you know its goal and you can help it achieve its goal, and then you deposit it in another geocache. That's kind of the idea. I remember I was really excited when I found my very first trackable, and I put a watch on it, and I think there's still a watch on it. I just don't get any updates because it is lost, like so many trackables.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, and if you go to the page of a trackable, you can see where it has been. Some trackables have traveled far and wide.
Mm-hmm.
Some have traveled to 1 or 2 stops and then fell off the face of the earth. But
exactly.
It's
I thought I had one of mine fall off the face of the earth. I haven't seen it for years. And just this last month, I've had 3 or 4 logs on it.
Oh,
I'm like,
well, that's
wow,
cool.
I don't think I've seen that in 5 years. And suddenly now it's popped up. So I think Wet Coaster hit it on the head there. He says, move it along, drop it under the seat of your car for your for a few months or years.
Yeah.
And that can really happen, right? It's small trackable can go into a backpack and get lost.
Yeah.
Or you can put it in a different pocket of a coat or pants and not check it for a while. There you go. Many seem to move to the bottom of the backpack and stay there for years. So when you do find it, you know what? Let the owner know, hey, I found this. I'm so sorry. I lost it. I found it when I cleaned out my car, cleaned out my backpack.
Right.
Hey, I put on the coat that I wore last winter, and guess what I found in the pocket? That's okay. Let them know, hey, I found it, and I'm going to move it on. So that's completely acceptable. These things happen. Don't think, oh boy, I'm so embarrassed. They'll never forgive me. I'll just, lose it and never worry about it again. No, they want to see it move on. So we all do it.
Yeah. I got the same kind of thing one time a year or 2 ago. I got a trackable I hadn't seen logs on in 10 years. All of a sudden I got a log. I'm like, oh, somebody decided that move it on. They found it under their car seat, whatever. And I was all very excited. And I sent a message to the person that posted that, and they said, oh, sorry, typo, wrong code. It's not your trackable.
That happened to me as well. Like, oh, bummer.
Wah, wah. Yeah.
So Wits End. Simply Golden.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Simply Golden. Swiftly Golden. put out a trackable code of JWCYC4.
C4. Oh, never mind.
It's explosive, let me tell you.
Yes.
He says, feel free to discover. Now, what do you feel about trackable codes in social media or online? Do you feel they should only be discovered in person?
That's a debate that, we've put trackable codes here on the screen
Mhm.
of our podcast. We've had people discover them there. It can be various ways. You're not going to be able to probably deposit it into a geocache and move it along and update the trackables map kind of thing, but it can be fun. How many of us have found a uh, bumper sticker, car window sticker with a code on it, and logged that, found that, discovered that?
Mhm.
So yeah, I think go for it.
That's different though, because if you're doing that, that you've physically seen that car, you're seeing the code.
True.
So I think what Chris is getting at is when and I think it's different than what Swiftly Golden just did. And as you said, Chris, we've shared trackable numbers
Mhm.
on the podcast. I've shared them
Mhm.
in my YouTube videos and things because those are ones that I am intentionally sharing with the audience, and I have intent. I want this to be shared by me to people who are viewing my content. That's sort of the one way direction. When
Yeah,
you start
true.
getting people who are going through and gathering up lists of all the trackables they've ever seen, putting it all in one big sheet on Facebook or whatever, and then other people are just discovering it because they saw a list on Facebook. No. That is not in, to me, that's not in the spirit of the game. If you want to do
Mhm.
it, fine. But why? I guess maybe because you're trying to achieve a challenge where you have to have discovered a
Yeah.
thousand trackables, but it's not in the spirit of the game. Like you didn't see this. Like, why? I don't
Yeah,
know.
good
Seems
points.
lame.
Gia sometimes too kind of says, as long as the person who's the one releasing the code, then it's okay.
Mhm.
So like you said, you're sharing that on your vlog
Yeah.
specifically for people to find it.
But
Yeah,
I'm not sharing it on my vlog or on the podcast so that somebody else can find it on somebody else's
right.
website or Facebook page. Like
Exactly.
that's not the point.
Yeah.
Exactly. For instance, I'm still getting logs from the big geocaching events this summer. People
Mhm.
are still putting in trackable logs. Hey, I saw this over the summer. It's like, wow,
Yeah.
that was a year ago,
Yes, because last summer.
last summer. Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, last summer. So yeah, I find that interesting of wow, they are really behind in their logging, but you know what? That's a good little hobby for them to do. And some people, like you say, it's a game within a game. Some people find
Mhm.
trackables far more interesting than geocaching. And you can do, whatever you like, feel free and do it. Kitty Quest says it's fine if the owner is sharing them online with a particular group, as such as those in a podcast audience or a Zoom call, but not okay if given out to someone other than the owner.
Yeah.
Right. So if somebody has a list of codes that they found online and then they publish that, well, that's not necessarily cool. Um, One of the things I wanted to bring up is another way to discover and pass geocoins are events, right? At most events, there is a geocoin table or a space set aside where people will bring coins either to move along, somebody else to grab, or they will they're they are there to discover. And there are a few apps out there that will help you scan these codes quickly and easily and auto log them for you. Hey, I set up my app that as soon as it scans that number, it puts in a discover log and off I go. And if that's what you want, great. Cashly, TB Scan, and GeoGo are the three I know of that work really well. If there's others, please let us know. Gas Station Tuna likes TB Scan. It's great.
Yeah.
But there are others, and Cashly just added that. GeoGo, I think, has a very good optical engine. So Komakino has an interesting strategy here. It says, when the kid and I started to attend events, I would give her a pencil and paper, and she could write down all the trackable numbers while I talked with the others. That's what she liked doing.
Yeah. Some
Wow.
people really like that.
Mm-hmm.
Good for her. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
We'll definitely take photos with
Mhm.
the phone of trackables that we want to discover. We'll usually swap a couple. If we've got some, we'll drop one or two, pick up one or two, try and just keep them moving. But definitely discover as many as we can. If we're there and we're seeing them, why not? That's why
Mhm.
they're there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice as the trackable owner, right? To get all of a sudden they get a bunch of logs like, oh, hey, looks like my TV was at an event.
Yeah.
Exactly. MC3 Cat says TB Scan is an awesome TB app. I believe TB Scan is the only app that will grab codes from pictures you've already taken.
Hmm.
So you could take
That's-
those pictures, run them through that app, and get the codes out of it.
That's the optical character recognition of it.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think about this? Wet Coaster says, I've been to events where they hand out a list of the trackables there.
I mean, if that's a list curated by the person
Mm-hmm.
who has all the trackables there, and it's a shortcut for people who are physically there at the event, so they don't have to take pictures of every single one. I don't have an issue with that.
Right.
You're still discovering the trackables that you were physically there proximate to. It's not, as long as that list doesn't end up, posted on a web page or
Right.
a Facebook page somewhere.
Yeah, you actually were there at this. Yeah,
And
same
it's a
one.
time saver.
The same idea. Gas Station Tuna mentioned the trackable lady who has like 1,000 or something hanging from her. She'll give you a Google Doc address to go get all the codes.
I think I've seen the trackable lady. She's got a hat.
I think
Yeah.
I've heard her jingle as she walked by.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's an amazing personal investment in
Yeah.
trackables for
And
sure.
incredible neck muscles, because that's
Right?
a lot of weight.
It adds up for sure.
Yeah,
Hey.
good for her. What?
Terrible Tease jumps in that says GeoGo also does the photo scanning
There you go.
for those. So you could take your photos, run them through that app, grab those codes out of them. At
pretty
the
cool.
big events, okay, so the big summertime events
Mm-hmm.
with names we probably shouldn't mention. No, we can feel free to mention them. There's like a Midnight Madness GeoCoin event that happens during Geo Woodstocks, and I've gone to those, and there will be people with books full of coins, and they will hand you a piece of paper, said, here's all the codes, you can go ahead and log them. So there you go.
Apparently, there's a website too, according to MC3 Cats, the Log Them All website. If you have a ton
Yes.
to log off of a list.
I always forget about that one, but yes, definitely that is an option.
And GSAC will also do logs of large amounts of TB codes.
Because everything counts in large amounts.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Heather says earlier I asked about the difference between grabbed and retrieved.
Well, there's a good one. So I think grabbed is when you so you have a trackable. Let's say you have a trackable in your hand.
I do.
Yeah, there you go. So and you were out geocaching, and that was in a geocache. You physically picked it up, you have it in your possession, or you were at an event and you physically picked it up, you have it in your possession, and now you're going to electronically log it. But you notice when you go to electronically log it, it shows that it is in either a geocache or an event, or it is in the hands of a different geocacher name.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's in the event, if it's in a geocache, you're retrieving it from that event or from that geocache. When you go to log it, you log a retrieved. It is now in your inventory electronically as well as in your hand. Bob's your uncle. Go nuts for donuts. If, however, it's showing in the possession, electronically in the possession, in the hands of a different geocacher, that's when people would grab it. Now, here's my thought on this. I want to get up on my soapbox for a minute here. If you pick up a trackable, particularly not so much at an event, but even at an event, or you pick up a trackable out of a geocache and you see it still in the hands of, before you go and log it and do a grab from log, before you do that, message that person who it shows in the possession of. Use the geocaching.com messaging system. Say, hey, I have this trackable in my hand. It shows that it's still in your hands, but I picked it up from this event, or I picked it up from this geocache. Do you want an opportunity to drop it in there before I log it into my inventory? That is the polite thing to do, people. Do that. Don't just automatically grab it, because cachers who cache by GPS, particularly those of us who travel and cache by GPS, or travel and cache by phone, but queue it up because maybe we don't have roaming where we're caching, we need a little bit of time to show that we dropped the trackable. So give it a week. Like, what's the rush? Anyways, I hate that. I hate when people grab trackables without asking.
So what you're saying is don't be grabby.
Yeah, don't be that person. Nobody likes them.
Right.
I sure don't.
Heather said I
I'm gonna come
grabbed
to your
one.
house, I'm going to take your phone.
You haven't made it yet. Still got it.
Just don't do it. No need.
Heather says I grabbed one at an event, but the owner said I should have retrieved it. From the event or cache, you retrieve. From person to person, you grab.
Yeah. So in that scenario, the person, they're probably saying that to her because the person who owns it probably noticed that it had been grabbed. The person who brought it to the event probably hadn't had time to drop it into the event yet. And again, then just message whoever it shows in their possession before you grab it. Give people a chance to drop it. Because here's the number one reason, besides being kind of like personally annoying, here's the number one reason. If you grab it, it won't show for the cache or the trackable owner, it won't show that it made it to that destination, either that event or that cache. If you grab it from the hands of somebody who had placed it into the cache, maybe this trackable just crossed the continent. Maybe it came from a different continent, and it's not going to show any of that distance in the logs because you grabbed it before they had a chance to drop it. So really easy fix. Just message the person, say, hey, I've got this in my hands now. Did you want a chance to drop it? Give them a week. If you don't hear anything back in a week, fine, grab it.
JCar says, yes, it can mess up the miles. And some people, that's very important to track those miles.
Yes.
BC Rock Crawler says another thing is finding a trackable in one geocache, but it shows being in another.
That happens. Yeah. And sometimes people just make mistakes. They accidentally, when they were out caching and they accidentally dropped it into the wrong, or they electronically dropped it into the wrong geocache. It happens.
Oh, interesting. He goes on to say, BC Rock Crawler is our trackable research department this evening.
Apparently so.
I will retrieve it, place it in the cache I found it in, and then retrieve it from that cache.
There you go.
That helps fix the mile thing too.
Yes, exactly. And that's what we'll tend to do. If somebody grabs one from us, we'll grab it back, drop it into the event or the cache where we found it, and then retrieve it from there. But anyways, I digress. I have a soapbox to put away. Continue on.
I don't know if I want to get into the next topic because we only have a few moments.
What's the next topic?
Well, do we want to discuss collections?
Oh, like collectible versus yeah. You know what? Let's make that its own topic because that is definitely so confusing. I think I saw who was it? Gas Station Tuna and at least somebody else earlier commented like, I don't get this. And it is confusing.
It is.
And it's just weird terminology. It's just that
It is.
they use the words differently than you would think.
Mhm.
You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
Inconceivable.
Well, one of the things I looked, and the oldest trackable I could find that's still active
That's
was
interesting.
TB18 Kermit the Frog, or if you like to beat him, it's Kermit the Frog.
TB18. Yeah, that sounds pretty old because
That does.
we're up to like 6-digit numbers or something.
Yeah, started in
4 digits.
2001, and the last action on it was last week.
That's a very active trackable.
So
Is it still like the original?
I think it to be.
Wow.
So, TB18. Just curious. Now, I think the trackable with the most miles on it is the one that went up to the ISS and back down.
Well, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you track miles that way.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, on
Nonetheless.
every individual trackable, your tracking history, you'll have the distance it's traveled.
But if it's on the ISS, that's moving.
Yeah, you're only going to get
It throws the algorithm off.
That would really throw it off.
Mhm.
I'm not even sure how that would work because it would. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Somebody would have to be logging it, every 4 hours around the globe.
I think we need a rocket scientist to help us with that one.
I think I may know one.
Okay.
There's another thing.
Yeah.
And I don't, I'm not that big into trackables. So I have to do shows like this every so often just to renew my skills. And did you know you can look for trackables around you? No, I don't think you did you?
Oh, in the apps and such.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At least on the
cool.
website.
Yeah. Do tell.
You go to play trackables and then click on for collectors there on the left-hand side of the page. And there's custom trackables. Click on that and it will show you the trackables near you.
I'm clicking on it right now. Let's see what, is that ever neat? You know what? I didn't know that feature was in the website. Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
Thank
there
you,
you go.
Chris.
So if you're looking for a trackable nearby, that's a great way to have it pop up.
Assuming that it's actually in that cache still, but yes.
Mm-hmm.
How cool. And then you can click on the individual trackables. And that's really neat. Today I learned.
There you go.
I was
I'm
today
glad
years
to
old.
share that with you. Here, let me see if this copies well and paste into the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. How's that? Play trackables for collectors, custom trackables.
Well done. And yeah, BC Rock Color says that only works if the trackable is actually there. So yeah,
Well, yes.
agreed.
Yes.
So that's always
And-
the
and I
slight
think
risk you
it's-
take.
I think it's much better now with the proliferation of cell phones.
Yeah.
And smartphones and such that the TVs typically are where they're supposed to be.
Typically.
I think it's better. I don't think it's perfect.
Well, and you always have things like somebody who's new to the game,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't understand what they are, picks them up and goes into a
Yeah.
backpack, right? So I mean, it
Right.
happens. No, good stuff.
Right. One more thing to talk on. If I wanted to give this wonderful Ohio flag trackable to Wit's End, if it just goes across the screen right here and shows up in his hand,
Oh, that would have been so cool.
Wouldn't
You guys
that
had
have been
planned that
great?
a little better, yeah. If Jim
Got
had one as
I
well.
got it.
Yeah.
It's right there. You
You guys, you should
I
Trust
don't have
me
it in
on
my
that.
hand.
trust me on it. It's here.
Look, nothing up my sleeve. You can do that by adopting a trackable the same way you adopt a geocache. Just go to geocaching.com/adopt, and the owner can start that process and adopt it to another user.
Cool.
For just $1 a day. Oh no, that's something else entirely.
You could save a poor trackable.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's all kinds of different things. So I've got a trackable
There you
here
go.
that I had this one. I think I had it out in the wild and then it came back. And so I've just held on to it at home for a while now. Haven't decided what I'm going to do with it next, but it's one of those, the deadly ducks,
Mhm.
the 7 deadly ducks, trackable tags on a appropriately matching duck. A little big to go in most caches. So I think it'll probably show up at some events again at some point. It's been sitting on my mantle for a while. It's just funny because just before the podcast, I was reminded that that actually is sitting there on display behind me.
There you go. It's not a coin. That's a toy
Yeah.
with a tracking tag on it. Right.
Yes.
So you
Usually
see-
called a host.
Oh, I
Or
like that term. Yeah.
called a host or a there's another term that people use. I can't remember what it is.
Does that make the tag a parasite?
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
Well, there's a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
Anyways. Yes, very cool.
MC3 Cats wants to know where I got the Ohio flag coin. It was given to me by somebody in Ohio.
Huh.
Starcacher says I own one of the Ohio State
Neat.
trackable flags.
Very cool. Guardian. There you go. Thank
The
you, BC Rockholder.
Oh,
Guardian is the
interesting. Okay. Okay. I'll give you Guardian.
Usually I assume Guardian is associated more with like something that a geocache is
Mhm.
attached to.
Hmm.
I usually say host for trackables, but yeah, it works either way. People will understand what you're getting at.
Exactly. So often there are toys, McDonald's toys, just like you find in the cache, often have a hole drilled through them, some sort of unbreakable cord
Mhm.
with aircraft grade wire run through it, so that
Sometimes.
TB tag and the toy never get separated. The same thing they put around multiple sets of car keys when you get a rental car.
Hmm.
Why do they give you 2 sets of car keys on one ring?
So if you lose them, they can charge you $1,000 instead of just 500.
There you go.
A rattlesnake in an ammo can is a guardian.
Yeah.
That log is not getting signed.
No.
Nope. All right. Well, what do you think? Cover this one off good enough? for tonight?
Cleveland Guardians, since I do have an Ohio State flag. Yeah.
Ah.
Megan says, I've heard the term hitchhiker.
That's the other term I was looking for. Thank you.
Now,
So-
a hitchhiker, I consider is another term for a travel bug,
yeah, or the tag,
the tag.
and then the
Okay.
hitchhiker would be attached to the host or the guardian. So
That
hitchhiker,
makes sense.
guardian, hitchhiker, guardian, hitchhiker.
Is that how? Okay. I've heard the term hitchhiker related to any trackable in the early days. It was a hitchhiker in the cache.
I mean, I guess
I don't know.
arguably you could put that the other way around as well and say,
Mhm.
well, this thing here has this hitchhiker tag
Right.
associated with it. So I mean, really, you could, I think, arguably go either way. But if people say that, they're talking about a trackable tag.
There's so many different words, right?
You
And
should
in the
write a
South,
hitchhiker's guide.
They'd say, bless his little heart.
Good stuff.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you, BC Rockcrawler, for being the research department of this episode. We couldn't have done it without you. And thank you all for joining in. I certainly like these shows where you guys join in. We don't have to stick to our notes. In fact, now we've got enough that we can go do a Trackables 2.0 sometime later. But thank you so much. And folks, thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Caching in the Northwest as much as I have.
Yeah, or caching in the more west.
In the more west, even more west than where we
west.
are.
We'll get wet, but we can do it. We can do
Yeah.
it. All right. Next show from Hawaii. Hey, I want to take a moment to thank Land Sharks and Gold Country Geotourism, our corporate level sponsors. LANDSHARKZ.ca is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online And remember that they ship those online orders daily. And for absolutely amazing geocaching adventures, explore goldcountry.com. Check them out there. Download the app. Be one of the cool kids. Go on. You know you want to.
Or Land
All right.
Monkey will come and take your phone.
That's right.
If you don't download the app, yeah, I might. It's a real possibility. So, hey, we want to thank all of our faithful Denali level sponsors. That would be Land Sharks, Gold Country Geotourism, Team Squirrel, Groovy Owl, Cool Cow Cachers, and Cachly, the geocaching app. Folks, if you want to know more about supporting this here podcast, well, head on over and click that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website.
You passed out. It's too late.
Website.
Our Glow
Contributor.
donor of the contributor, Glow donor, Glow contributor of the evening, Limax.
Yeah. And we'll thank Camp Clan.
And Logwork.
And Broncos fan for life.
Very active in the chat as always. GSM times 2.
Utox, 2 rocks.
And another UDAC.
And also very active in the chat. BC Rockcrawler.
Also very active in the chat. CRS 98.
Also very active, but not in the chat. MNerv.
Let's see, we got RAR 285.
We have our favorite kitchen appliance, the LG 9000.
And very active in the chat. MC3 Cats.
So active he spills his drink and has a wet coaster.
Bump. Antaeus.
Trexer.
B Pendragon.
Geo Nav Pro.
Team Noltex.
RE54321.
Flagman.
Just Carlo.
Nervous Energies.
Wino Seattle.
Geocaches.
Just finding our way.
Alarobrick.
Subway Mark.
Wow.
It's
very
deeper.
ominous.
He's down low.
Okay. Peach of Washington, who's in Washington currently.
Skyhawker.
Dora Moore.
J-Car.
Seabeck Tribe.
Mountain bike.
Coors Scott.
Kev MacD.
Kitty Quest.
Greenwords.
Sege Hove.
Ackerdock.
Boomer 365.
Genies.
Kid Vegas 19.
Active in the chat, active in the caching world, and just not a great lunch. Gas station tuna.
Oh, thank you so much. I think Gas Station Tuna is on some sort of streak.
Something. He's been active, that's for sure.
Folks, thanks for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. So if you like the show, click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website. And if you didn't like the show, let us know what you want us to talk about. No one's ever taken me up on that offer. You could be the first. In either case, please subscribe wherever you get your podcast and give us a review. Now, if you were in a restaurant, you would tip. If you were in a live audience, you would clap. But since you're on a podcast, leave us a free, fast, fabulous, fantastic 5-star review. You can call in to 253-693-TFTC. That's all working again, by the way. And leave us a comment, ask us a question, or you know what? Grab a trackable right out of our hands any time of the day or night. And of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. Join us live every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific for a live show and chat. This show is produced by Chris Umfenauer, Jim Paulwitz, Jay Kennedy, and Brian Lang. It's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2023 by Chris Umfenauer. And folks, I ask you to stay tuned for
The After Show.
the after show. Now, just a few moments ago, Brian Lang says there are no FATASs. And suddenly we have FATASI all over the place.
There you go.
GSM times 2 would like to know how many events people have attended this month. Has there been an uptick in the number of events?
Oh, related
They
to
up-leveled their
souvenir.
event numbers.
related to the current souvenir challenge. Is that
Mhm.
maybe
Yeah,
the
it could
thinking?
be.
Very cool. Very cool.
I've probably done an event or two more than normal.
Yeah, I don't know. I think our event attending has been about average.
Gas Station Tuna, for example, has held one coffee event a day for this week. It
Wow,
all ends Sunday.
that's cray.
That's some commitment. That's great. Yeah, we don't typically have a lot of events in this area, but I've noticed more than normal. So
Mhm.
that's yeah.
I know Seebeck Tribe is putting on a lot of events this week. So, in fact,
Yeah.
she mentions Cachers Across Border event at the Peace Arch at the Canadian Washington border this
Mm,
Saturday.
there
I'm a
you go.
going. So I looked at that, looked at the will attends. It looked like the Caching in the Northwest patron list.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
I
great.
sadly am going to miss that one this year. Just the timing didn't work out perfectly for us. So we're going to be off on a different adventure in a different part of British Columbia, but looking
But
forward.
you're close to the border. Just swing on by. It's a 7-hour event.
Yeah. Even so, it's not going to work for us this weekend.
Okay.
I'm also not going to be able to make that. I have a prior commitment. But if anybody wants to swing by and say hello,
And
I
take
will
your
be.
phone.
No, that's Nine Monkey. I'm meeting. We
Okay.
come here and visit it. No, I will be Carnation over on the west side this weekend with the Oktoberfest celebration. So if you want to go hang out at a good Oktoberfest, go Remlinger Farms Oktoberfest. I'll be there.
Oh,
Nice.
very nice. That's, I remember a large geocaching event at Remlinger Farms.
I do.
Is that
remember
where
Geo Woodstock 8.
8? I always think it was 10, but yeah, okay.
And I remember that one well because I thought this is the time to start a podcast because we've got this Geo Woodstock thing coming up. I'm sure I'll be able to talk about that for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And here you are.
Good old Seabiscuit here is only 55 caches away from 5,000 fines.
Wow, that's awesome. Congrats.
That is great.
Make sure you call in that milestone.
Oh, yes. In fact, she's going to do it, I believe, at the Cachers Across the Border
Hands
event.
across the border event. Yeah.
So I'll have to nudge her a little bit.
Yeah, bring your
Here,
recorder.
give me your phone. Let me dial for you.
So now Chris is taking people's phones.
There you go.
I think move around too quickly. Peach will be at the Peach Arch, the Peach Arch
The
event.
Peach Arch. I think it'll just be the Peach Arch.
Renamed
I think it should be the Peach Arch.
in her honor. That's funny.
West had a chance to do an event in Delaware last week. I think we all had a chance to do an event in Delaware.
Well, I suppose.
She's the only one who went out there.
Yeah. Capitalizing is different. Interesting.
There's a birthday event for B. Pendragon on Sunday in Tacoma.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Happy birthday.
Land Monkey has to drive at least 4 hours for the nearest Earth cache.
Funny, but not true. Land Monkey has planned well ahead and has a selection of Earth caches that are do not touch unless it is International Earth Caching Day within a 1 hour drive.
Seebeck Tribe is holding 3 events and 1 CETO.
Awesome. Hey, you know what? Good community work.
Yeah. Well done.
Congrats.
Kitty Quest is planning to be at the Peace Arch. Fairies permitting.
Cool.
GSM times 2 asked, who got the hard souvenir for teamwork makes the dream work?
Good question. I'm going to
Yeah.
check. I'm going to check and see if I have that one. Let's see here. Boop. And souvenirs.
Oh, we should get a patron photo at the border.
There you go.
Yeah, actually,
what?
that'd be a great idea.
Let's do that.
If people, if Brylang's going to be there, we can maybe get him to take it.
Gas Station Tuna has.
Hey,
not
job.
the picture, but the hard souvenir.
Yeah.
As has Terrible Teas and Kitty Quest
And
Mhm.
Wet Coaster and
and
Brylang
Brylang. And Brylang, or I'm sorry, a Wet Coaster and Greenwords.
and Greeners. Yep.
Very
UDAC
well.
plans to get it tomorrow. Congrats.
Great
GSM
job.
Tips 2 got it with a lot of fave points. Oh, nice.
Ah,
That's a nice way to earn it.
yeah, that's a good way
Yep.
to do it.
MC3 Cats got it.
I earned it. I just checked, so I've got that as well. Speaking of FATAS and milestones, I'm gonna have to call a milestone into the podcast this weekend. We will hit our 30,000th find this weekend.
Fantastic.
Well done.
Oh,
I have to look. Okay, so I got a Ceto season 2. No, but I just have the easy so far.
okay.
I'm just easy so far.
Well,
Easy like Sunday morning.
let's check and see how you're tracking towards it. You might be able
Yeah.
to get it in the next little bit. Very good.
I thought it would show me on Wheel of Challenges. Okay. Now's not the time for me to sit and look at my phone.
It's gripping audio though.
I
It
know,
is.
isn't it?
Yeah. No kidding.
Here, let me tap hard enough to punch holes in my phone.
As one does.
Yes, I know it's in the leaderboard. I just had to go find it. And I thought, you know what? That doesn't make a lot of fun audio while I'm looking at the leaderboard.
Indeed.
And you
That's
can't look at the
Zero
leaderboard
buttons.
on the phone. You have to do it on the website.
Sorry, Jim. Was that the Lederhosen board?
There you go.
Okay. Well, did we cover off the FATASIS? Chris? You frozen?
Maybe he is. I thought he was just playing games with us, but maybe he's
I thought
actually
he was
frozen.
messing with me.
Okay, well,
Oh, what do you think, Jim? One of us going to click end stream?
I think we're going to have to say goodnight.
All right.
Thanks
folks.
everybody for joining us, and maybe he'll come back and maybe he won't. Tune in next week to find
To
out.
find out.